Yeah, I'm ready. We can talk about Elon Musk getting charged with fraud with was it
Oh, for
insider
tweeting.
trading?
They're just going after that guy for anything. They just want him.
I guess I don't know why.
Eh,
I mean, he's annoying, but
I don't find him that annoying. I find him kind of funny. You know,
he's annoying in a pompous Silicon Valley way.
isn't he British?
I don't know.
I think he's
I don't
British.
care.
I don't think he's Silicon Valley.
Well, a British Silicon Valley guy.
Okay, I mean, sure, I guess.
Silicon Bay. How about that?
Silicon Bay.
Or Silicon Bridge, London Bridge.
I feel like Silicon Bay is the name of a really bad porno.
Yes.
How did you know? How
No
did you
idea.
know?
No idea.
Yeah,
I
you
should have
know,
checked the team chat to see if anyone took me up on my thing, huh?
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
anyone
I don't
did.
think anybody did. Yeah.
No, I just checked. Oops. You should be here by now.
It'd be great if
Little
somebody
late
was knocking
notice.
on the door to your garage right now. Hey, let's get our game in.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
Just play the game live on the Twitch stream with us. Because why
Yeah,
not?
why not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
it should be fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the C&D they sent to Tabletop Simulator?
Did they really?
Apparently,
Oh, that's too bad. I
I
like
mean
Tabletop Simulator.
it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll fly or not. It'll be interesting. I'm not a lawyer.
I don't know if it's gonna actually go to court, but I mean, considering that it simulates a tabletop and UW's whole basically business model is tabletop,
That's true.
So
so
what is the nature of the claim? They're just saying that you can't have our books on there?
no, they don't have the books. They use them. They basically you're using GW models in a virtual game.
Right, but if you take pictures of your own models, I think that's fine.
Well, unfortunately, they're not pictures. They're actual. Someone made a program where it's GW models
Hmm.
or GW.
Renders of their models.
Yes, renders of their models.
Huh, interesting.
Hello, Clint Sturlock. Who's Clint Sturlock? Is that Clint? I bet that's Clint.
Maybe I don't know.
Cool. Okay.
I don't know enough people.
That's fine. All right. So let's go ahead and just start this thing
You
off
wanna
then,
just
Adam.
start?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go with what are we talking about again? We can talk about the tournament really quick. We
Yeah.
won't mention Tom. Do we want to mention Tom shitting the bed?
Sure, why not? I mean, you just
Okay.
did
Don't
live
use
on
those
the air.
words.
But you just did live on the air, so.
Yeah, I just did. So
Clint wants to know when the FAQ is, but we don't know that information.
it's
So
gonna be Sunday. It's almost guaranteed it's Sunday at this point.
the very last day of September.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Because
to
it
piss
makes
off everybody.
it. They're,
Just to
they're
get
still
back
on
at
time.
everybody.
I can't wait till I can't. Well, we'll talk about it. Let's talk.
Sure, sure. Okay.
All right. So just start. Just start.
Yeah, ready?
Doesn't
3,
matter.
2,
I'm
1,
just waiting.
go.
Okay. Hey everybody. Welcome back for another episode. As you can tell, we're not there, or you can't
No.
see us.
They can see me.
They can see you.
They can
Oh,
see
they.
me. I'm right here.
I feel sorry for those guys.
I can make myself bigger too. Watch, ready? Hey.
No, it's okay.
Oh, I just did. It's too late. See, look how big I
that's
am.
Too bad. Yeah,
So great.
I'm sure that's what you tell the ladies.
Oh,
Oh.
wow. Okay.
You walked into that one.
Yikes. I'm going to go ahead and shrink that back down.
I'm sure they hear that too.
This is some comedy gold at the beginning. I like it.
Oh my god! So it's been a little while. We're hoping that the FAQ would have been out by now, but as you can tell, it's still not. Still got a few days left for those that are counting. Literally a few days left.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
So I guess we just have to all be patient and not overreact because I know everybody's calm and collective. Nobody overreacts, right? Everyone takes a nice even keel when it comes to things GW.
Speak for yourself, Adam!
Absolutely, everybody does.
As you can tell, we have Jeff with us and John as always. Unfortunately, Danny and Tom couldn't make it.
No.
I'm once again banned from John's house, which is why we're doing this.
I just didn't want to get everything set up. It's much easier to just sit in my office and stream.
It was just lazy John this week.
Yes, I was very busy this week and did not want to put the effort into setting everything up.
That's fine. It happens.
Yeah.
So not much going on. We do have a couple new We did have a couple tournaments. I played at last episode. We talked about me going to the local RTT.
Hmm.
I did end up going. I did okay. I came in second.
Okay, I was gonna say define okay, but you defined okay just fine.
It's actually good for me, but to be fair, my first round was a bye. So, but
Wins a
even
win.
though, yeah, win's a win. Yeah, even with the bye, I ended up playing. I ended up getting down paired with against Jacob in the second round in his Tyranids.
Okay,
And Tyranids have a hard time with knights,
they sure
especially the
do.
Castellan. The defining point of the game was when his deep striking Hive Tyrant decided to charge my Castellan, and I killed it in Overwatch.
Jesus.
And that was
That's rough.
It's terrible. Why don't you just rub salt in the wounds of the Tyranid player while you're at it?
all I was doing was
Oh
rolling
Lord,
dice.
I
That wasn't
understand, but like the dice
that,
god should have gone easy on him on that one.
All I was doing is rolling dice.
Yeah. Okay, I'm
Said
gonna
every
charge.
neckbeard ever.
Okay, I'll go ahead and Overwatch, I guess. Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, he wasn't sorry.
No, of
No,
course not. It's Adam. He's not
no.
sorry.
And that
Ever.
wasn't even using. I didn't even get to the big gun. That was just the shoulder mounted gun.
It wasn't even the volcano lance
No,
or the
I never got
plasma.
I was sad because I never got to use it.
Oh my god! I can't believe you shot the shoulder cannons first.
I always shoot the big gun last.
Why? You shoot the big gun first.
Nah.
What's the matter with you? This is why you lose.
I like to build the suspense.
God, you're such a jackass. You're only building suspense for your opponent, giving them false hope that they might
Yeah, but
survive.
he's got to burn his clock up sometime, John.
Only if you're trying to slow pay to win. Because
No,
you're a jerk.
knights have all the time in the world, and if you're on a chess
Yeah.
block, you might as well fucking make it a show.
No, might as well get done early so you can have a beer or eat or whatever.
John, I like to crush hopes and dreams. That's why I do that last.
That's probably true. That's a good point. I agree.
So yeah, so that game went well. I was actually worried in the beginning because I did something I don't normally do, where I split the knights up to like each end of the table. So the gallants were on one end, the Castellan was on another. And he had Old One Eye and Swarm Lord against my gallants, and he put the Hive Guard opposite my Castellan, which is probably the bad idea.
Okay.
But the gallants were able to kill off the Old One Eye and the Swarm Lord when I only lost one gallant, and then the Castellan took care of the rest. And that was basically it. And then the third game, so I ended up only getting like 20 something points. Third game, I was actually paired up against I forget his name. Oh yeah, against Tom, our own.
Nice, Jeff. Well done.
Against our own Tom. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here, so we could help recount it. Again with and Tom and
He
I.
told me he didn't want to remember it.
And Tom and I talked
Nobody
about
blamed
it
him.
afterwards, and then I talked with Jeff about it because as we're trying to get Tom to be better, not Butters. And I again split my army in the face of his, but in response he split his Riptides, and I think that's what really cost him the game. Because I ended up winning that game. I actually went first, and he couldn't seize. And it's what happens when knights go first,
Yeah,
and
against
when I don't
anybody,
care.
basically.
Yeah, just about. His Overwatch wasn't as strong as it was in previous games I've played against him, so they kind of just raffle stomped all over his army, more or less. There were a few mistakes he made. One of them was deployment, as we discussed. And I think a couple other times where he left spots open for me to get my knights into position to hurt his Riptides. And
Through mistakes removing models from casualties, or
at one point there was that he had his fire warriors in front of his Riptides, and as I killed the fire warriors, he pulled the fire warriors that were literally in front of his Riptide. So I'm like, okay, I'll just charge through there and make it. So, he tried to use terrain and his fire warriors to kind of block me out, but with House Terran, plus the fact that I have Longstrider, it's
Mhm.
kind of hard to do that.
Okay.
It's pretty hard to do that, especially with only 9 guys. Um, and what ended up happening then, and this is probably what broke it, was I was able, because he made that hole in the line, I was able to get the Gallant through, killed the Riptide, and I even threw the Riptide because I used the Gauntlet. I used Death Grip. I used Death Grip to finish him off,
I love that.
and so I used the Gauntlet to throw the Riptide at the other Riptide,
Perfect.
to put some wounds on him.
It's cold-blooded, Adam.
He's got to learn.
I wish I had that song queued up. I wish I had the Foreigner song queued up right now. God, that'd be the best.
But I ended up going 3-0. I missed first place by I think 3 points.
Okay.
And it was Jay with his Eldar that came in first with a different Eldar with a 700-point Seer Council.
What?
Or no, is that what it's called? Or Conclave, Warlock Conclave. What's it
Okay.
called, Jeff?
I think it's
It's the Warlock Conclave.
Warlock Conclave.
Yeah, on bikes. It's essentially a triple the cost of a Shining Spear and just not as good. But you know,
Yeah, it's durable.
it gets a 4+. It gets an invulnerable save in combat, which is what it has going on the Shining Spears.
Yeah, he played Alan first round, and Alan said he shot everything at it and killed I think 1 guy. He played against Dark Eldar, against Stark's Dark Eldar in the second round, and same thing. He shot everything at it, nothing died, and then he started killing off Talos's. And then in the third round, he played against a Nurgle demon army, and he basically won that one too.
Yeah, and Jay's a really good player. He's taken like probably 4 RTTs at our local store over the course of the last this season.
Yeah, over the last couple of years, especially he's either been in the running or in the running or first. He's like first, like he's top 3 almost every.
Yeah, he's very good. Yeah.
So unfortunately, I didn't go to Dice Hammer. I went to the LA County Fair instead.
It's fine.
It's like the same thing, right?
I was there too.
Warhammer.
I was there too at the LA County Fair, and you knew I was there and didn't say anything.
I
So
didn't.
you guys could have got what's those things called? The
Beer?
waffle cones or something in the.
I can't have those.
Not waffle.
You keep mispronouncing beer.
Oh yeah, sorry. You could have got a beer together.
I didn't realize it until you posted that picture, and it was like almost the end of the day when I saw it.
Yeah, it's
Funnel cakes. Funnel cakes. That's
funnel
what I'm
cakes.
There we
That's what
go.
you're thinking of, yeah.
Although I did have a fried slice of cheesecake, fried cheesecake.
Nice. Okay.
And we watched pig races. That was more or less all it was.
Oh man, the pig races are good.
Yeah.
Love the pig races.
So
So what was Dice Hammer for people who don't know?
Dice Hammer is the grand tournament put on by, I think the store is called Dice Hammer, but it was at a bowling alley in Lake Forest, which is
Orange County.
Orange County, which is south of where we are.
It's by
number of-
Disneyland for non-Californians.
Oh yeah, for non-college by Disneyland. So a lot of excellent players went there. First place was James Carmona with Chaos, and I think a couple of our guys went. Alan came in second.
Yeah, I was just Alan came in second.
With his Eldar, he actually played for more than 2 tournaments in a row.
2 games in a row.
That's right.
So he also Carmona went 5-0. Alan went 5-0, but Carmona had more points because Alan submarined his way to the top, which seems to be the theme for our team.
Yeah, John, I was gonna say, isn't that you do something like that?
That is a thing.
That's our team motto.
Submarine for the win. That's fine with me.
So I believe Tom also went, but did not fare as well as he had hoped.
Yeah.
So he still has a ways to go before SoCal Open.
He learned a lot. So
Sure.
This is
Consolidation
actually a
price.
decent segue into one of the things we want to talk about, which is his Tau list. So, like, Jeff, we all kind of helped come up with this list. Not we, because not me, but like the team and you mostly. It's a very
Mostly Jeff.
it's a very solid Tau list, right? So, what exactly, we talk about it all the time in the show. So, what exactly is this Tau list, and what is it designed to do? Because it's very good. It is very good. I played against it. I think
Yeah,
it's
it's a
very
good list. It's a very good list. Tau have a hard spot because they really, they can't do anything in the psychic phase and they can't do anything in the combat phase. So it's kind of like if they don't shoot well, it's not a good list. So the list is it's like 6 units of 9 fire warriors, 2 cadre fire blades, which buff the fire warriors to give them extra shot to people in close range. It has a two commanders, one with the super far range one who can like move 40 inches or something and shoot some meltaguns, and one who has a bunch of like rapid fire plasma guns or something. And then it has 3 riptides. It has 3 units of shield drones, 6-man shield drones, and the idea and all those are Tau steps, so they overwatch on 5s. And Tom and I have just, after Dice Hammer, came to the realization that he needs to put the Overwatch reroll system up on his Riptide, so he's now done that. So now they have +1 to hit against flyers as one of their upgrades, and their second upgrade is the reroll to hit in Overwatch, because we were finding that most of the games he was losing were games against combat armies where he was getting charged and either wrapped in combat or wasn't able to do enough damage on Overwatch to really whittle down the opponent, because they would deep strike in and then charge, and he would kill maybe some of the stuff that's coming at him, but not enough. So adding that onto his Riptides makes him, full rerolls when you're hitting on 5s on Overwatch is insane.
Yeah,
Especially
I've been
with
on
the
the
Riptide.
receiving end of that with my Knights list, and I was on the receiving end of that with my Necrons once. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's so, but his list is designed to be like all of the units play off of each other. Oh, I should say there's a ethereal who provides a buff of like 6 up, feel no pain to some of the guys around him, and then there's three or 4 firelight or marksmen or something like that who are part of a different sept, but they're part of a sept that can do an AoE marker light stratagem, and they get to reroll when they're shooting their marker lights. So their characters, they can kind of sit back, zone out deep strikers, and shoot reliable marker lights, which really helps him get his marker lights in, because there's not a whole lot of them in the list. So, it doesn't have a whole lot of marker lights, but it doesn't really need them. It just needs like 1 or 2, and then 1 or 2 hits, and you can get 5 marks on someone because of the stratagem where you can spend D3 + 1 per hit. So it's kind of the list is, it's designed for multiple purposes. The purpose that we designed it was simplicity. I always stressing to Tom, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Not that he's stupid or anything, but it's just a good motto, because it's, we used to, when in the earlier iterations of the list, he had a Borcon,
I remember that.
Yavara in the list, which was very good, and it's mobile and adds some mobility to the list, but it's a different sept, and so your shield drones can only they can't like cross sept take hits for people. So
yeah, you're not gonna hear anybody say the Yavara is bad, but it doesn't really mesh with with that style list that you guys were looking for. That
it worked, but it just added more failure points for piloting the list, if that makes sense. So like the idea is like, after Dice Hammer, after his performance, it wasn't where he wanted to be. We came up with a kind of a default deployment, like two default deployments if he's facing melee armies, because that we were identifying that as a weakness of his, and the weakness was mainly in deployment against him. So against like a horde melee army like Chaos Cultists or orcs or something like that, he's going to deploy with his Riptides in front, actually, and screen them with a unit of drones or 2, because he's not worried about shooting, so he doesn't need the drones to absorb, for instance, volcano lance shots or something.
Sure.
And they can fly, so they can't get wrapped up in combat. The Riptides can overwatch with them because of the support fire rule, and they have a ton of shooting in Overwatch. So even if they touch your Riptides, you have the fly keyword, you have a 2-up armor save, so it's unlikely they're going to kill your Riptides after they get through the shield drone. So we kind of made one quote-unquote default deployment for melee horde armies, and then we made another one for things like Magnus and Mortarion and knights, big melee monsters who aren't going to wrap you in combat. They're not going to tri-point you, but they're going to just come in there and just try and beat the shit out of you. So those guys, you throw the fire warriors,
charge multiple units, move up, fight again, like just
but I mean, like when they're killing 10 fire warriors, you're not worried. But if they touch your riptides, like this is what Adam was talking about in this game against Tom earlier, was if they touch the riptide's fucking dead. But that's why with the second default deployment is you put the fire warriors out front and kind of a semicircle in front of the riptides in the middle, protecting them. And it's the opposite for melee hordes. You use the riptides and the shield drones to protect the fire warriors, who are really what you need to kill all those bodies, because the riptides will do a lot of damage to 30 bloodletters or 40 cultists, but really it's the 6 units of 9 fire warriors, each shooting 3 shots each at strength 5, that are going to just mow those guys down, and so that's kind of where we went with that. It's kind of,
how many fire warriors are in his list?
Whatever 6 times 9 is.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's 16 units times 9. How many CPs does his list have?
His list has 5, 5, 1, so
and
14
3?
command points.
3 for being Battleforged?
Yeah.
Okay, so 14. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's very... And the Tau he needs like 3 CPs a turn, maybe 4, to do the double Nova on one of his riptides.
His Tau list is not CP hungry. Like, he's not trying to do all kinds of stuff on suits. He's not trying to do all kinds of stuff on the riptides.
No, he'll do maybe 1 on the branch Nova charge if he needs to, and maybe if one of them is had taken damage, he can make it act as full. But really, it's just rerolls, and then the marker light related strategies to use maybe 1 or 2 per turn on that. So it's not a CP intensive army. It's mainly rerolls. That kind of thing.
And then using the inherent abilities to do things like move and shoot.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
And so it's really about the marker lights, So because he only has maybe he has Dark Strider in his list too. So he has maybe 8 or 9 marker lights, but all of them are characters. Yeah. So they're very hard for the enemy the enemy can't just be like, I'm going to shoot your marker lights and kill them, because they're all characters. So unless you have sniper rifles or whatever, you can't affect his marker lights, which is a kind of a big thing about the list. And he has access to the Sasea stratagem, where he can choose a unit, and then that unit, and every unit within I don't know, whatever it is, 3 or 6 inches of it gets a marker light as well. And all that guy has to do is see it. It just goes, boom, there it is. And then you can start putting marker lights on people.
Yeah, I found when I played against that list that the ability for that whole blob of 6 times 9 fire warriors, right? The 51 fire warriors or whatever, to move forward every single time and still fire and be able to overwatch you on a rerollable 5+ is nuts.
Yeah,
just
they don't reroll this Overwatch, but the Riptides do. But yeah, it's that's the whole thing with his list, is it's designed to be like a big block that kind of moves into the middle of the table and then blows everything away and then takes objectives. And that's the idea, is that it's mobile enough to be get into the midfield, and that's where its shooting is the most effective. And then kind of after you've spent a turn or maybe 2 turns blasting your enemy away, the blob itself can split apart, because it's really as effective. It's really very effective as a blob. And so when he played Adam, and when he played a lot of the games over at Dice Hammer, he was kind of realizing that if he ever breaks the blob apart, it becomes exponentially less effective. And so what he was finding, what he was finding is that in deployment, he was I'm going to try and he was telling me a lot of things from his deployment, because I was trying to fake my opponent out by putting a unit over here too, and I said, look, never do that. You need to figure out where your blob's going to go and just put it down there. And that's the thing is he has a lot of drops in his army, but they all, almost besides the marker light guys, they all need to go together, because they all are synergistic and need to move together as a blob. Because if against a shooting army, you don't care as much, because you can kind of you don't need to have the Overwatch protection. But that's the whole point of the blob, is that it's very good against melee armies, because you can Overwatch yourself out of being charged by 30 Zangors or whatever it is.
Yeah, his list is definitely not a tricky list. There's not a trick to it.
And that's the point. That's another one of the points, is we wanted to make it simple. It's this is, you keep to the battle plan, and it should get you to where you need to be.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that a lot of the winning lists in 8th edition are not these trick type lists. Like, I know everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use these stratagems, and I have all these CPs. I'm gonna spend on these stratagems. Let me do these things. But when you start to look at the lists that win a lot of the stuff, I mean, if you look at, come on, look at any list like Don Houston plays. There's barely any CPs in it, and he's not using a bunch of stratagems. It's a solid list. There's no trick, right? You look at Custodes. It's not a trick. Yes, it uses CPs and stratagems, but there's no trick to it. Knights, there's no trick to them. Another great one is they just posted an article by Reese about his Space Marine list. He took the Nova and took 15th, right? There's not a trick to that list. Like, it's a bunch of scouts and scout bikers and stuff.
You mean it's Gilliman and a bunch of guns?
Yeah, it's Gilliman and a bunch of guns and stuff to screen people out, right? So like, there's no trick to the list. And even in the article that I think it was, I don't know if he posted on Frontline, but I know that it was posted on Bella Lost Souls. Like, he puts some pictures of deployments that he does. There's not a lot of variety in those deployments, first of all, and second of all, there's no trick. Like, here's a castle. This castle moves and shoots. These scout bikers move out. The Smash Captain goes and smashes stuff. Tigerius does what he does. Like, looking at the list, and even the way he talks about the list, he's even saying in the article multiple times, like, I'm looking at the article right now, he says it multiple times, like, this is just what you do. Like, it's these obvious things that you do. So it's like you build these simple take all comers lists in 8th edition, and you can do really, really well with them. And I think that it's a departure from all the editions of 40K before this, where like you wanted the trick that beat your opponent a lot of the times. There used to be a gotcha moment in 40K, like there used to be the gotcha moment in War Machine, and I don't think that exists anymore. And I think that that's part of the problem that Tom has had a couple of times, is he's trying to do these like tricky type things with his Tau list, and really he just needs to play it straightforward, simple plan, do your plan. You know, and that's what I did at Barry Open when I went undefeated with the Knights. I mean, Jeff, you know this because I was always talking through the strategies before the games with you. Like, here's my plan. Yeah. This is what I'm going to do. And you have the plan, you stick to it, you execute it. And in 8th edition, I think that's the key. I don't think that having these tricky lists is necessarily what's going to be good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't even think it's a symptom of 8th edition, but you know, you should always have a battle plan going into the game.
Right, but sure. I don't think tricky lists like in previous editions are all that prevalent. Actually, most, like John said, most lists aren't, like even the Knight list, even though it's tricky with the Smash Captains, it's not really that tricky. You know, it's like John said, just go smash stuff. I think that's indicative of the edition itself as opposed to the codexes or things like that.
Yeah, I guess it should have been more clear. I think there was the perception in previous editions that you needed to be tricky. And I think that, like, for this edition, it's more of like all this stuff is straightforward. You need to build your list to be straightforward. Whereas you could make the argument in like some other editions with Fifth in particular, that like with Najal Stormcaller, the idea was like you need to surprise your opponent with how bad his storm is, you know, and or like yes, right. On paper everybody understands how good Thunderhammer Stormshield Terminators were at the very beginning of Fifth, but until you witnessed it and felt it, it was like, okay, now I understand what you're talking about. Like Gate of Infinity plus 10 Thunderhammer Stormshield Terminators or Salamanders, that sucks. You know,
I think also part of it is because there's not, as we've discussed before, there's not as many loopholes as in previous editions, or if there are, they're closed very quickly. So that type, in terms of tricky that way, you know, you're not seeing as much of that. That's why most lists are fairly straightforward, because you can't rely on those tricks, or if you do, they're going to get closed fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Alan, I don't think
Alan just said I had to beat the guys that Tom beat, or that beat Tom at Dice Hammer.
Are you saying it's like Big Brother syndrome?
I guess Alan feels like I had to make up for Tom's losses by beating them. I don't know.
Oh my God!
I was just avenging Tom.
That's a way to think about it. See, I always assume it's the negative connotation with Alan, not the positive.
Yeah. So. But Tom's been playing the same list for the last few months, though, right? More or less.
We had the Yavara in for a while, and then we switched. The biggest change was dropping the Yavara and adding 2 more Riptides.
Yeah,
because it made the list simpler. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
a month
but-
and a half ago, 2 months ago. Something.
Last time I played it was
I don't
yeah.
remember.
It's been a
Exact
couple
time.
months because it's been at least it was like 2 leagues ago.
When I played it, it had the Yavara in it, which my knights did not enjoy.
No,
I still won
when
that game,
played
but he beat the crap out of my Necrons.
okay, that's not saying much to be honest.
Hey, my Necrons are gold. Okay, they're
Okay.
literally
That is a true
my
statement.
Necrons are literally gold. Okay, all right, thank you.
It doesn't make them better.
Moving on.
Noted, John.
Moving on.
Oh my god. Speaking of the Dice Hammer and speaking about Tau, because the last couple weeks Tau have won a couple of events.
Yes, although the
but
one was like a weird narrative event.
Well, Harvester of Souls, I believe I'm
Like
not
that one,
100%
each table had its own mission, right?
Yeah, I think that that
Okay.
one has each table. Okay, and then the other one was the one in Gibraltar.
Yes.
Oh,
No retreat.
no retreat. Yeah.
Now that one was unusual because they had very strict restrictions on your army build.
Yeah.
It was like you had to be pure basically for the army.
Yeah, and that's the one that Lawrence Baker from Tabletop Tactics just goes and he's crushed like half of those.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of be pure. You kind of have to follow a certain build when you do
It's
it.
comped, I think. Yeah.
It's comp heavy, and that begged the question for me. That question for me was, and some comments from some people was, what is quote unquote real 40K?
Okay, so what do you want to explain that?
What real? It's more or less actually. I've actually heard the term from UK players.
Because their
On how-
meta is so advanced and 6 months ahead of ours.
Yes,
Such a superior meta.
this was like a year ago.
They're already playing with the FAQ, John.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are, Jeff.
Where when any discussion would come about the differences between ITC, where GW run events, ETC, and they would always mention that over here, meaning the UK, we play quote unquote real 40K. The inference is that because of ITC and because of the missions and because they don't play GW missions and the GW heats especially they do.
Sure.
Their opinion is that's what real 40K is.
Right. It's a superior meta.
I did not say superior. I just
Why
said
did I
real.
not include that meme? Why did I not include the SpongeBob European superior meta meme? I have all these memes running behind me, many of which are excellent, because
Really
many of
fucking
them
up,
were
John.
many of them were made by me.
I don't know.
But I
if
did not
trust
include
your anymore.
that one. Excuse me?
because you're slacking.
I don't trust your memeing skills anymore.
Oh man,
Sounds like a challenge.
that cuts right to the core, Jeff. That cuts right to the core.
I know how to do that.
You do.
So I was curious. I was curious if there even is a definition or something that you would quantify as real 40K. Because if you look in the rule book, there's no mention of what. I guess there's no mention of this table size. There's no mention of time limit.
I mean, I quantify real 40K as ITC at this point. The ITC is the standardized, basically, format.
Okay.
You know, the whole like bottom level blocks line of sight is almost universally accepted. So much so
Right.
that if you look at the terrain from kill teams, it blocks line of sight on the bottom.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
so if you're playing quote unquote real 40K, you're playing first of all competitively, and second of all you're playing ITC. And I'd also like to discuss for a second. It's a game. This is all a game, right? So
Right.
the entire point of playing a game is to win. There are like literally objectives. No matter what you're playing, narrative campaigns, if you're playing straight book missions, Maelstrom, I don't care what you're playing. Even if you're playing homebrew, beer and pretzels in my basement, kill as much as possible, and the person who's killed the most at the end wins. You literally have an objective to complete and win the game. It's a competitive thing. So
Well,
anybody
I mean,
who's like,
to be a contrarian, John.
no, you
that
are
is-
not allowed.
I am also always allowed to be a
I'm going to
contrarian.
figure
first
out
of
how to
all.
mute you.
Second of all, fuck you. And then some people do play the game with, look, yes, there is a winner and a loser at each game.
Yes.
But a lot of people, the enjoyment that they get out of the game isn't from winning or losing.
Not
but
talking about
playing.
enjoyment. There's an objective to the game, and the objective is to win the game.
But we're talking about what is the point of playing, what is quote unquote real 40K.
Yes.
And to me, it's not defined about the mission parameters. That's not real 40K. Real 40K is playing the game you want to play to have fun, and for most of us, and probably most of our audience, it's with a bent toward the competitive scene, because you know what we like to do? We like to win. We like to play and win. And we like to challenge ourselves and compare our standings and abilities to other people who play this game.
Sure, but
there's a lot of
realistically,
people
Jeff,
who
nobody
play-
sits down at a game and says, I'm going to lose.
No.
Or,
No, of course
I'm,
not.
I'm sure going to enjoy losing this game. Like,
No,
you
well,
sit down at
no,
the
I don't
table
know.
for
Yeah,
the
play
game
it.
and you want to win. Even like Dungeons and Dragons. Like, you host Dungeons and Dragons games. You're a DM, right? Like,
Yeah.
the player characters want to, quote-unquote, win.
Yes.
You
no,
know?
I'm not saying winning isn't an enjoyable experience.
But nobody
I'm
goes to
trying
a
to say
D&D
is-
game and is like, hey, man, you know what I want? I want my PC to die. Nobody sits down to play Monopoly and is like, I want to lose.
Yes, that is true, but that's a different thing than the objective of the game, or not of the point of playing, because a lot of people who suck ass at 40K play people who are very good at 40K on a regular basis. I'm sure everyone out there has people in their gaming group who are like, that person sucks ass, and I don't even know why they play, because they lose every fucking game. You know what? That person is aware of that, that they lose every game, but they keep coming back and playing.
Are
'cause
they aware
enjoy
of it,
the game.
though? Are they aware of that?
I'll let
That
you
they
answer.
suck?
Yeah.
Some people are more aware of that.
I don't know, John. Tell us how you feel.
I think I've said enough. The point of playing any game is to win. Period. So I find it very disingenuous for people to be like, we only play for fun. No, you're playing to win.
Which is fun.
Which is fun. Now, if
So you're playing for fun.
if fine.
Argument win.
However, if you're saying we only play for fun, to like say that one person's way of playing for fun is wrong, then you are automatically incorrect. Like, you can't be like, we only play for fun, which means that your fact that you play competitively is incorrect.
Oh yeah, well that's a different
bullshit.
subject.
Right. Okay.
The reason I play 40K is because I like the competitiveness. I wouldn't play if there wasn't if we were playing some book mission. Fuck that shit.
Me too. Which is why I did not take Necrons to Bay Area Open. Like, I was like, I'm going to play Necrons to Bay Area Open. And I played a bunch of games with them, and I was like, this sucks. And I was like, it's not, what doesn't suck? Knights. I'm going to take that. Because I was not going to go to the Bay Area Open and lose 5 games.
Yeah.
I don't even think I would have won one game. I wasn't going to go and lose 6 games. I didn't win a single game with my Necrons.
You didn't want the opposite record of what you got.
Yes, exactly. I did not want to get the opposite. So, like, I mean,
So what's your point?
my point is you play to win.
Okay.
No matter what, you're still playing to win. So don't sit around and try to tell me that my way of playing is wrong because you play for fun. You don't. You play to win the game.
Yeah, but I think the context of this was European players saying that they play real 40K, but they're still playing to win, and you're still playing to win, but they just feel that the mission set that we use and the rule set we use is not quote unquote real 40K.
Yeah,
So there's
sure.
a disconnect between what you're saying and what real 40K is.
Yeah, no, I suppose. Yeah. I can accept that. Yeah.
In the context of what the way I have read it is in terms of tournament play,
Mm-hmm.
where they would describe, because they play book missions, that what they play what's called real 40K, not something someone else put together that wasn't GW approved or GW official.
Right.
Yeah, I mean if that's their definition, then that's correct. They are playing real 40K.
Yeah. I mean, I just
like-
don't see real 40K as being
Now the other
as being,
question,
like book missions. Like, if the majority of, like, if the majority of, like, book missions, 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 like, if the majority of, like, the competitive scene plays ITC, and you are somebody who like runs tournaments and plays tournaments, and are saying your version of is the correct way, but you're not playing what the majority of the world that plays the same way you plays, then it's not. It's not the real, quote unquote, real way.
So your real way is basically whatever the majority is playing.
Yes, the majority rules in terms of like competitive play. That's like saying like Canada plays real football in the Canadian Football League.
Oh my god!
Shots fired.
They
They
can't
don't.
even come up with it. They can't even come up with an original name. They have two teams, same name.
I understand. Like, seriously, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't say we play the real version of this thing when the vast majority of people with ITC scores
So are you
don't
telling
play
me-
your
hold
version.
Are you telling me that American football isn't
Yeah.
real football?
Not according to Europeans, because that's called soccer.
Right.
We call it
Oh,
soccer.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
No,
Look,
like
look,
American
the
football
American
is not
the
real
American
football.
Soccer League is
They're not playing the right game.
is not real.
So Europeans are correct when they say they're playing real football.
As long as you are defining football as soccer, then yes.
Well, no, but the majority of people who play football play soccer.
No.
We
not
call it soccer.
American,
We call it-
American football.
I mean, that's just a problem with the language.
Yeah.
You know, they're playing an
Just-
entirely
just
different
trolling you,
game
dude. Come on.
system. Is the same
Yeah.
thing. What I'm saying is like Canadian.
No, I
Saying
get it. I'm just
Canadian
trolling you, John.
football.
Come on.
I know. But you know what? You're pissing me off. So
All right, look at that! I succeeded at trolling.
you did. Congratulations on succeeding at trolling.
Yes.
You get to level up in real life.
Yay!
I'm sure your wife will be proud of you.
She's gonna be pumped. You don't even know.
Well done. Well done.
Something else to piggyback off of that is, and what a lot of the comments that I've heard around when it was said that Tau won was, does winning an event, a GT level event, does the format affect your opinion on that army,
Yes.
especially for winning that format?
Yes.
Well, to be fair, we have no idea what their missions were like. At least I don't. They could have been exactly ITC missions.
They weren't.
Well, we don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I've looked at them. They're not. They're. It's very interesting.
For
Which
which
is
one?
fine.
Are they competitive? If they're
So, like-
competitive in mission, then it's like where both players have an equal chance of winning. It's fine.
Yeah, and you know what, Jeff, I understand what you're saying, and so I think that you'll agree with this real quick. If you're talking about a list being good in terms of like take all comers, as being able to like, and we're not going to take an hour to define what that means, okay? But take all comers meaning like you can take on all armies across different missions, right? Because you can achieve the missions. Then I think that if you can win an event that has these random missions per table like this one had, or you can win an event with the same list that's ITC or Nova missions, right? You've created something that's a take all comers list. And so I think that like that's indicative of that Tau list being very strong if it can do
Yeah.
well in that kind of format, and Tau lists can do well in regular formats too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Sean Morgan is a great player too. He's really good. He went 5-1 at BAO with Eldar, and his Tau list was good. Like, I mean, it includes things I wouldn't include, but you know,
Sure.
another thing that being a competitive player is analyzing the mission set you're going to be playing in, and so he may have had some insight as to how the missions would be, and then built his army to play well in those missions, which is actually a sign of being a good player.
Yeah, the Harvester of Souls event has been around for a number of years, and he's played in it before. So
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He knows. I mean, he's part of that like group, you know, and that's totally fine. I'm not knocking his win, and I think that it is a true sign that like he built a list that was good for that. But also, I think that Tau list would do decently well. It's got a same basis as like Tom's list that you built. Like it's got a bunch of Fire Warriors as his base, you know.
Yeah, it's like half the number, but yeah, like it's still it's a great list. It's great. It has a lot of
Stealth
stealth
suits. Yeah.
which are really good for screening out melee because they fly, they're relatively tough, they have -1 to hit. You know, they're a good unit.
Yeah, I mean, I think building for the format and building for the missions is a real thing. Like, had I gone to Nova, I don't know if I'd take my Barry open list, like the exact same thing. You know, I don't think that it that makes the same sense to take the same exact list, because the Nova missions are so different than ITC.
After playing it, they're not so different. The inclusion of engineers is a little different, but a lot of your units during the game don't move anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I always got at least maybe 4 points almost every game with my list, because my list was the same one from BAO. Now I did get the same record, so that's probably more indicative of my play my play style as opposed to my list. And a lot of those, as discussed before, a lot of those games where I lost were more or less my mistakes, not so much the list itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if your list may, because Fennel had a heavy knight list and he did well.
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean it was a different house, but I mean,
he did Tyrannus.
Yeah,
He did Zombie Knights, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Stupid Zombie Knights.
Sore spot for you?
It is definitely a sore spot, Jeff. Thank you.
Anytime.
Cry in a corner while I'm not on camera.
Apparently it's okay to cry on camera. Should be fine.
Oh, okay. Let's not go down that road. There's already a meme with that on the screen. Let's not go down that road.
So
we might trigger some snowflakes.
oh God, all right. But
SJWs unite! Put my hands up and everything. It was great.
I wish we had a camera on you.
I don't.
That's the next level. So it do you think so do you, I mean, okay, so this weekend it was two Tau players that won two events that are kind of off the beaten track in terms of their format. Does that, would you say that Tau are moving up the ranks in terms of their tier level?
I think it speaks to the fact that like Tau is more adaptable. I think that like if you build a solid Tau list, it can do more than any of the other solid lists, except for probably Knights and Astra Militarum. Those two lists are very, very flexible in terms of like they're just plain good. Period. Yeah. Like if you look at the winning percentages from the all the data you get from like Best Coast pairings, like those two armies, Knights and Astra Militarum, are one, the most represented, and two, the most winning, right? But I think that the fact that Tau can do well at major events, and then Tau can also come in and do well at these weird events, and by weird I just mean like non what's the word I'm looking for?
Non-ITC missions.
Yeah, non-ITC. Okay, that speaks to the fact that they're very malleable. You can take a list and you can kind of, from that book, the Tau book, and you can kind of do well with it and shape it to do what you need it to do in any situation. I think that Tau is probably one of the more like Swiss Army knife type lists. Like it has more tools for stuff than a lot of stuff. I mean, my list that I've been running is just Knights and a CP battery. Like it doesn't have a lot of tools. It just does what it does. And I think that Tau is definitely more Swiss Army knife, but I think that in certain formats, the Swiss Army knife just isn't going to get you that extra step. It's not a Custode list. It's not a Death Guard list. It's not a Knight list. It's not an Astra Militarum list with the Bulligrins, It's not a very well-tooled Ynnari list. It's not going to take you that extra mile to get you to the top table, but you're going to decimate some people with the Tau list over the course of 6 games.
The problem with Tau is that they have some lists that they just fall flat to, and the problem is
can you give us an example? Because I don't know necessarily.
Yeah. So like for instance, a Ynnari list. Anything can wrap a fire warrior in combat. Will just, if you can wrap someone in combat who can't fall back, you're gonna win. Or if you have
Soulburst is a big deal in that case.
Not so much Soulburst as the fact that they have like a very fast unit that can shoot out a bunch of fire warriors, clear a spot for it to charge, and then charge, and then wrap something in combat that didn't fight. Gene Sealer would be the same idea. Like Gene Sealers can run in, move 40 inches with the Swarm Lord, kill something in combat, move another 20 inches, and then wrap a fucking cadre Fireblade in combat and be like, I'm not going to attack you, but here I am, holding you in combat. And then next turn, my Gene Sealers fall back and eat another 30 Fire Warriors or whatever it is, And so if Tau is if a player is able to deny Tau Overwatch, a melee player should say, if a melee army is able to deny Tau Overwatch, then Tau is going to fall flat. Tau is actually the preferred matchup for Tau is a shooting army. Like more like a Castle and Knight army, because they don't have the anti-infantry shooting to go through all the fire warriors of Tom's list, for instance, and the Volcano Lance is essentially wasted because it's just going to pop 2 drones maybe, and so it's just going to me that's the optimal matchup is the heavy elite shooting list that doesn't have any good targets against the Tau. That's what you want to see as a Tau player, in my opinion.
Okay.
And so to me, that's why they do well that's why they can go 5-1, is because unless you run into that matchup, they're probably gonna outshoot a lot of armies out there. And they can, move. They're pretty mobile. They have a lot of good answers to a lot of stuff. But when they come against that list or that player who knows how to beat them, they don't have anything that they can fall back on. They don't have a counter assault unit that they're holding back just in case the Gene Sealers get in. It's like, nope, that's it. You can't smite the Gene Sealers off. You can't do a number of things that other factions have access to deal with a melee threat that's pinned someone in combat. And it's essentially, if a Tau player gets someone pinned in combat, they've lost, because the threat that they need to kill that's on their doorstep is unshootable.
Yeah, there's really a downside to Tau, which is there's no close combat at all.
Yeah.
Like, what do you... Kroot? No.
No, there's no answer.
There's nothing. Like, there's the one special character with a sword who sucks.
Oh yeah, he sucks. But the point is like, that's fine. And if you play Cage, the thing is Tau never are like out. They don't see that list and go like, oh, I lost. I might as well just give up now. They have answers for it. I mean, they can play. You can outplay that list if you're a better player than your opponent, but you have to be a significantly better player than your opponent.
Sure.
If you're the same skill level in the game, and the opponent is able to wrap you in melee, you're just done. And that's unfortunate for Tau, but it just kind of is the reality they live with.
Yeah, I definitely like the idea that like Tau can do well in these odd formats, and I wish they were more well-rounded in terms of like being a little bit easier to play for people. But if you gave them some type of strong melee unit, you'd be unbalancing the game, really.
No, I also just don't think that the good players in the ITC play Tau. So you're not gonna. I mean, to me, that's a big thing. Is it doesn't matter, that whether Tau can go 5-1, they're not going to go 6-0 because the 6-0 players aren't playing Tau.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah,
and that's a player skill is an important thing to consider.
Yeah,
and Tau are good, but if it's like orcs, there's a lot of good orc players out there, but there's not a lot of great orc players out there.
No. Wait till October is over.
Sure, I'm waiting to get my orcs out, but the good players in the ITC aren't running orcs just to run orcs. They're just like, no, I'm gonna run what's good. I'm running Chaos or Castellan or Yanari or something.
Yeah.
And that's indicative of the strength of those codexes.
It's true. Yeah, those codexes are definitely the stronger ones. I think Custodes are strong, but I think the Custodes have the Tau problem where they're only strong in the hands of the right player.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm. All right, Adam, you want to talk about our non-existent FAQ?
Talk about our what?
Non-existent FAQ?
There's nothing to talk about.
Okay, good.
Everyone just needs to relax.
I just had it as a show note and a bunch of memes, so I just want to make sure that we touched on it at least, for a couple of seconds.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone's just worried that it's going to be late again, but I'm not.
I don't think it's going to be late, but
it's not going to be late.
Fucking stupid that they wait till the end of the month.
I think it's going to be at 11:59 at the International Dateline time.
I mean,
so the very last minute of September 30th. Just because they've been getting so much nonsense from so many people on their page.
Let's be honest. How many people wait till the very last day to make their payments, their bill payments?
Yeah, or turn in their papers. I'm a teacher. Hello.
I'm sure you never get that, John. I'm sure all your students turn their papers in.
I get like one or two students who are like, "Hey, can I turn this in early?" And I'm always like, "No, turn it in the day it's due." Like, I don't want it early. I'm gonna lose it. What are you talking about? Early? Turn in what's due.
Yeah, but they're not our students. They're trying to sell us things.
I don't know. In some ways, Games Workshop is definitely the students of the competitive community.
Well, that's true. No doubt.
They don't listen to this show, so we're not in any danger.
I wasn't worried.
Yeah, that's not something we worry about nowadays.
No. We're not positive for product.
Oh, there we go.
Or positive for previews. Isn't it positive for preview? Something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm okay with waiting.
Yeah,
Let's
whatever.
play with my mics longer. It's fine. Be fine.
I mean, whatever comes out in the FAQ isn't going to fix the other army I own, Necrons. So whatever. Like if anything will fix or like make them playable, it's going to be chapter approved, and that's not till December, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another couple
Or
months
January.
away.
When is chapter approved? Is it December or January?
It's December.
Yeah. So whatever.
It'll be fine.
I might just have to do what every other player who wants to win does and buy and paint up a Yannari army.
Not playing LR.
I said me. I didn't say you. I'm sure as hell I'm not going to play Space Wolves.
No, come on. I need a room priest. That's what I need. I forgot. I need a room priest to stand next to my Castellan.
Yeah, seriously. I've considered actually doing just getting Reese's Space Marine army. And being like, sure, let's try this. It's just a bunch of scouts and Gilliman, whatever, and Devastators. Everybody's got that lying around. It's the scout bikes that are harder to find.
Yeah.
Scout bikes are legit.
Apparently.
Scouts are better at everything, apparently. Why would you even want to be a regular?
Are you referencing that Bella Lost Souls article?
Oh yeah, I saw it. I didn't read it, but I mean, they're right. The as a troop choice, scouts are better, and now as a fast attack choice, the scout bike's better than the Space Marine bike.
Yeah, of course. Well, because they have them all sitting in the warehouse,
cheaper,
unsold.
Yeah, but even in previous editions, when they were cheaper, you didn't take scouts to attack squads.
Yeah, well, because they were just trash, and there was no such thing as CPs. You didn't have to like fill a battalion or a brigade in order to get an immense amount of CPs to use all your stratagems.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we had the formations, and if you think about it, like really, the whole idea of like the battalion and the brigade is just the formations from last time with more flexibility.
Yeah.
Like you had a battle company of Space Marines, right? Everybody played battle company, but there was very specific things you had to take, right?
Yeah.
Now you have to take a battalion, or you have to take a brigade, or an outrider or a vanguard, and it's just filling out these slots with these other options. All it is the formations of the past with more flexibility in terms of choice.
And some of the benefits from the formations have turned into strategies.
Yeah, the stratagems. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Except for my free drop pods from being a Ragnar Blackmane company. You know, whatever. Probably wouldn't want to use drop pods even if they were free.
I know, right? Oh God. But no, if you had drop pods.
If they could ignore the first turn deep strike thing, that'd be good.
That would be good.
I have 8 of them standing by just for that occasion.
Nope. As soon as I saw the first inklings of 8th edition, that army went on the chopping block. All 12 of the drop pods. Goodbye. Have fun with this sucker who bought them on eBay.
Oh my God. Wow.
Whatever. He doesn't listen to the show, I'm sure.
I'm sure he does, and he's waiting that. He's looking over at him right now.
Damn it. He's going to say, you don't know, man. He's won me the game.
Jeff, come on.
I don't know what game he's playing.
Yeah, he could be playing an open play or narrative.
They won him his Age of Sigmar game when he used them as terrain and put them on the table.
Yeah. Yeah, they blocked line of sight. They had the doors up.
Oh, man. Age of Sigmar is not a thing.
God. I know. But
I'm wondering if one of the things, speaking of the FAQ, is people were kind of spitballing that they might do the Age of Sigmar for consolidation and piling in, where you don't have to in closer, you just have to in not further away. So
sure,
it would allow you to, which I think is a good change, because the idea that when you're basing someone you can't move is annoying.
Right.
Although it is a very useful tool to prevent people from like locking you in combat to touch them. So it does add a lot of tactical flexibility to the game, but it's just kind of unintuitive. So
Yeah, I definitely think that it's in. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the idea that you can try point if you're good at it. You know.
Well, tri pointing it wouldn't. This wouldn't change tri pointing because you can't move out. You can't move out of. You can't
Sure.
move
Sure.
your
Okay.
opponent's models. But what you could do is you could touch a knight and then shimmy along its base
Yeah.
while still touching it. Instead of starting 1 inch away and then ending 0.9 and then
Locked.
0.8
Yeah.
or whatever.
Basically.
Which is just creates these like things where people say, "I'm 0.001 and now I'm 0.0001." You know, just like
Yeah.
it's kind of they just you have that agreement with your opponent.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It is a bit silly.
Yeah.
Jeff, are you going to get the new Spirit Seer from that box set?
No.
The what is that? The Dead or whatever, the Dead Awakening.
I don't know, Day of the Dead, or I don't even remember. I don't
Oh,
remember
that's
what
Dia
it's
de
called.
los Muertos. You should know that.
That's
I
what
do
it's
know
called.
that. That's why I said it's Day of the Dead.
You didn't say it in Spanish. You made the white guy say it in Spanish.
I'm not going to say it in Spanish.
It's your heritage, man. Be proud.
He doesn't speak Spanish, bro. Come on.
I do speak Spanish, but only for well, I can't say for what.
No.
All right. Awkward.
Yeah, seriously. All right.
All right.
Jeff, would you like to fill us in a little bit on how your Blood Bowl league is going? So we can talk about something GW related, but that's not necessarily 40K.
I think he's lost all his games. He doesn't want to talk.
You don't want to talk
No,
about
I
it?
haven't lost all my games, but I've lost 2, 1, and tied 1. Yeah, it's been bad for me. I've had really bad luck. But we so in Pasadena here in California, Southern California, we have what I understand to be the largest active Blood Bowl league in
Mhm.
North America. We have like something along the lines of 25 to 30 players in our league.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
always seems to be
this is
games
nice.
at the store being played.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
very active league. It's been going. I think we're on season 8 or whatever. Since essentially as soon as the game came out, the
Mhm.
new GW version,
Yeah.
which pretty much implemented Living Rulebook 6. I think it was 6.
Mhm.
We've had a league, and our league started off like with 45 people. Now over with attrition and time, we've had
Yeah.
people, some coaches come and go, and it's a lot of fun. This league we're starting fresh, and players can either, and during the next league, which will be next year sometime, they can either roll their team over from this league or start a new team. So it's a lot of fun. For those of you who don't know what Blood Bowl is, look it up. But it's a lot of fun.
What team do you currently play in Blood Bowl?
So helpful.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty helpful thing to say.
Hey,
I
Google's
play-
a real thing. It's fine to tell somebody to Google something. It's not a big deal.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, it's been on Steam for I don't know how long.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's,
and that's we have a lot of people who came from Steam and
nice.
saw that the league was being played at the store, and are like, oh, well, I play that game on the computer. And
Yeah.
they came into the game, so that's kind of cool. But I'm playing Chaos Chosen, which is it's Zeech themed. I have a bunch of Zangors and Chaos Warriors with Thousandth Sun helmets, so
Mhm.
it's kind of like themed around Zeech. Looks kind of neat, but I have they don't start with any good skills. In fact, they don't start with any skills, but they're kind of a good team. They're one of those teams that's like better if you develop it. But our seasons are kind of short, so because we're able to roll our teams over into the next season, I'm like, I'm going to play this team this season, and I'm probably not going to win most of my games, and that's okay as long as I skill my players up and I get them in a good position for the next league. That's my goal, which
Nice.
is not working out because I haven't even been skilling up.
It's kind of like how real football is. You have building
Kind of, yeah,
building
yeah.
seasons, and the next season,
Yeah.
hopefully, you are the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So that's it's been kind of a fun league, but I
Is
haven't
that is that
horrible luck.
Blood Bowl team that you're playing? Is that one of the box sets, or is that one that's
Yeah,
okay.
it's the models I have I custom made them.
Okay.
Using some Age of Sigmar dudes. What are they called? The Stormcast Eternal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tore their heads off and put on some Zinchian heads.
Nice.
Yeah, and then but yes, Games Workshop does make a very cool Blood Bowl team.
Nice.
Chaos team. The new models that they've been coming out with are fucking sick.
Yeah, I got the Nurgle one. actually.
The Nurgle one looks really cool.
I love Nurgle. I always loved Nurgle, and I was like, that team looks pretty cool. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, well, we should stream a game where I teach you how to play.
That would be cool. We should definitely do that. Oh,
Yeah,
Alan
Blood
said
Bowl
something
is-
in chat.
Yeah, he's asking another podcast is saying how bad Assault is in 40K.
Ah,
And
hello.
wants to,
Jesus Christ.
okay, now the podcast he references is more of a they're competitive, but they're more like a casual competitive podcast.
Yeah.
And Jeff wants to know he wants to know what Jeff thinks about this and the
Well.
current state of Assault in 40K.
I have I'm literally painting a sword right now. Like, I'm not joking. I'm
On
painting
a
a blood
40K
letter sword.
model, not a
Yes,
not a Blood
on
Bowl
blood
model.
letter. Well, it could go either way. I guess it's a blood bowl. It's blood. It's a 40K.
Yeah.
I'm painting a bunch
It's a 40K.
of blood letters because I'm switching up my army from Eldar to Chaos Soup. It kind of just I think in 40K everyone's always building a new army.
Yes,
That's
basically.
kind of like something most people do. And the thing is my Eldar list is pretty solid, and I might bring it to. I haven't determined what I'm going to bring to SoCal, but it really depends on if I can paint this army up in time, which is why I'm working right now on painting it. But and really, it's not even the painting; it's the practice. Like I just don't know if I'm going to have enough practice prior to SoCal Open with this list, since I haven't been able to really go to many tournaments this year, or even RTTs.
Yeah.
So, and I haven't brought this Chaos list I've been kind of working up. I haven't brought to any tournaments, so I'm kind of I don't know if I want to have my outing with this at a tournament be SoCal Open. I might just bring my Eldar list, so something I know.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is the Eldar list really struggles with the Knight
Yeah.
matchup. So I'm kind of like, we'll see what happens with the FAQ, I guess.
Yeah. If Knights take a big nerf, then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, that may
No.
happen. I doubt they'll get. I doubt they'll.
I don't think I don't think they'll get a big nerf. My plan is to still take Knights, even if it's just all Knights. I'll
Hmm.
just take Knights to SoCal.
Yeah.
Have you
and
bought a Porphyron to hedge your bets on if the Castellan goes up to like 700 points?
I have not. I
You
may
know
go. I
someone
may.
who
I
borrowed.
may get a Preceptor. I have a list idea that involves.
Ooh, is it 9 Halvarin Scepter?
It's 4 Helverins with the Preceptor and
Okay.
a Gallant and 2 or 3 of the close combat ones.
I don't know. I don't like it already. It's
Damn.
not 9 Halvarin.
I didn't ask you if you liked it. I just said I'm taking
Well,
it.
here's my opinion.
I didn't ask for that either. Not that that'll stop you.
No, it didn't.
I don't know. I know it'll play fast. It's 4 Helverins. I don't know.
No, that's good. I think like when I first saw the Knight Codex, I was like, oh, a Preceptor with 9 Helverins, and then the Helm where you get +1 to hit on the Helverins.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
cute, but
It's pretty crazy.
it's just. I mean, it just doesn't do anything to hordes. Though. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
there's 100.
Because
dudes.
really,
Well,
the Helvarians is like the straight damage 3 from the autocannons is crazy, but that's not going to do anything. Who cares if there's like 400 orcs on the board?
yeah.
Your damage 3 autocannons are
I also
cute.
might even. I guess I could bring my orcs to SoCal Open, but I'm definitely not going to have enough practice with that. So
Yeah.
I won't do.
With the I guess it depends on when the codex comes out if it'd be legal or not.
I mean, even if it came out tomorrow, I wouldn't have enough practice.
Yeah.
I played like 6 games with this chaos list, and I'm still not ready to go. I'm actually,
Yeah.
we can cross pollinate here, but I have a couple of games set up this weekend with Andrew from Roll the Seas.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go play him, and then I'm gonna try and play Jay later this month
Cool.
prior to SoCal Open because you need to get out of your bubble
Yes,
when
for
you're
sure.
practicing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if you keep on playing your teammates or the same people at the store, you're not gonna know what to do when you find something that some of your local players don't play or a style they don't play.
Yeah, it gets stale too, you know.
Yes, very. So that's my. I'm gonna try and get a couple of practice games in October since I can't go to any tournaments, just because of like life and shit. But I'm gonna try and get some practice games in with non-team members.
Yeah. So depending what the FAQ looks like, I don't know what.
Well, that's
What
the
I'm-
shitty thing
what
is
I'm
everyone's
taking.
waiting for the FAQ. It's like it's here. Look, true. Games Workshop has not released the FAQ late, but that doesn't mean that like everyone should be like not pissed because it's not out yet. Like to me, it's pretty fucking legitimate to be pissed. It's like I saw someone, I think it was Steve Pamprine, posted something about Christmas morning. You know,
Yeah, I
like,
saw that
if you
too.
came downstairs on Christmas morning, we're like, let's open presents, and your parents like, oh, you won't get them till midnight. Like you'd be pissed. You know, like maybe our expectations here are too high. But I think most players, at least the tournament players, are like, yeah, not Nova Open didn't really like have any big like oh shit moments for GW. There wasn't anything at the Nova Open that wasn't already like well known in the community. So like, what the fuck were they doing?
Yeah, they also had the 40K heat like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so I mean, I assume that they're done with it and they're just translating it, and that's really what they're waiting for. Because translations take a lot of time because, I have, as an attorney, I have a lot of my friends who do like end user license agreements, like for Blizzard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if think about how much World of Warcraft their end user license agreement changes every couple of, every patch or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They have to add something new in there, and then they have to translate to however fucking many languages.
And it has to be accurately translated because it's a legal thing.
Oh, for sure.
Like it's, and it's the same thing for a rule set. You have to accurately translate it. Otherwise, you're going to have people being like, well, okay, so I get to play this in this country this way, according to the German.
Yeah.
And according to the Korean, I can play this way. And according to English, which is what is written in, it's played this way. And they're like, well, what's the actual rule set?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
Makes sense. But
So
you're
by
still
the
mad
time-
it's not here.
Oh yes, I'm very
Okay,
mad.
good.
Not, I'm not
Just so
actually
we're
that
clear.
mad, but
No,
I'm just like mildly disappointed.
Mildly disappointed. It's even better. Okay. Yeah,
that's the best
so
type of
I-
disappointed. You can tell your kids that, and they get all guilty. They feel all guilty. Not mad. I'm just mildly disappointed in you. Okay.
Yeah, if my 2-year-old knew what disappointed meant.
Yeah, my kids are older. They know what it means.
I'm sure they'll know by the time.
She knows the look.
There you go. That's,
Well,
all
that's
you
good at
need.
least.
So you think Assault's still strong going back on?
Oh
top?
yeah. Correct. Yes. Since we didn't actually answer the question you asked, yes, Assault is very strong, in my opinion, because like with my current list, it's very common for me to just like wrap someone in combat and be like, okay, well you can't shoot me. My 40
Right.
cultists are here, and you can't do anything about it. And if you don't have an assault element, you can't deal with it. So like you need to be able to. It's a strong element in the game. It can win you games because it allows you to have board control and to kill things on your turns. Assault provides killing, board control, and durability all in the same package. And that's what I think people don't realize about Assault. Like Assault isn't about killing people like quickly. Like you can shoot a unit of Gene Seal or whatever, a unit of 20 cultists much easier than you could charge them and kill them. But what you can do is you can just charge 20 cultists and then kill 10 of them and then keep the other 10 locked in combat, and then you have durability because you're not going to get shot next turn because you're locked in combat. For
Right.
some reason, the guy 20 inches away from the combat who's conga lined out there to the objective is also protected, which is makes people have to feel bad, but that's fine.
It's at this point, if you're playing in a tournament, considering the current state of the tournament scene, you can't feel bad.
No, and it's just a part of a game. It makes you realize it's a game. It's just like it's a game. It's there's rules. Some of the rules are weird. Like you can lock a Lehman Russ tank in combat. It's like what?
Yes,
Okay.
I saw that during a game a couple night on league night actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking about it with Bobby. He was kind of like, "What the fuck?" Like, well, it's kind of that's when you know it's a game. It's not this is not an accurate representation of what would happen in real life.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
True.
Like the Knights not being able to just walk over models that are
Walk
like
over?
1/10 of its size.
Well, it's
Yeah.
funny because it can sometimes.
They
Right?
can
Yes.
in combat, but
In
not
certain
very-
situations, it's allowed to do this thing, and others it's not.
Which is like I think it's funny.
Yeah, it is hilarious. As
If
a
I'm
Knight
running away from
player,
the 2-inch tall man, I can walk over him. But if he's just standing in my way,
You
right?
can't. Yeah,
I can't.
I can't remember if they were ever able to do that. I don't think so.
I don't believe so. I think I
it was
remember
just in
that.
combat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So yes, assault is good, Alan.
Yeah. Jeff has
it's good for
spoken.
nights. Oh yeah, Jeff has spoken since he didn't care what me and John
Ooh,
thinks.
Yeah,
yeah.
he didn't ask for any of our opinions.
Nope.
Whatever.
Weird.
Just
Yeah,
for the
well,
record, my knights agree, Jeff. My knights agree.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're not locking people in combat, like, assault is still good, even for knights who are just like, I'm gonna just charge you and bash you to shit. It's like that's still a good thing.
Yes, that's the whole strategy.
mhm.
I think that's anything else. Any
No.
other questions?
I don't think so. I don't see any.
No
Chat's
other
been a little
questions?
quiet. I've had a couple
Yeah.
lurkers, but they haven't said much.
But no questions.
No.
One other thing that we can talk about, whether it's briefly or not, depends on your disgust or rage.
Sure.
Ooh,
is about
rage.
it's about basing.
What about it?
So
Oh shit!
one of the GW stores, I think it's the one in
Fucking dumbasses.
the Citadel.
It's in Texas.
Yeah,
I think they would be smarter.
Jeff.
Wait.
Jeff.
You just said it's Texas. That's all you need to say.
You've seen John Cook's posts. Come on.
Oh shit!
in response to a question, someone asked about third party parts and things like that. They said no, you can't play if you have third party.
Okay, what
someone
dumbass asked, first of all?
Okay, wait. Well, let me.
Like, seriously, you just walk in the store and play. You don't ask beforehand.
Well,
You're
third
just
party-
asking for trouble.
Third party makes sense, but then, like you said, they asked about bases, and that caused the whole thing.
So why don't you explain the controversy for those?
Yeah.
That's
first of all,
more or
yeah.
less what it is. The controversy is GW, the Citadel, the Citadel in Texas, I guess the U.S. version of Warhammer World, made a statement on their Facebook page. So, the person asked if I can use 3-party models. They said no, and someone followed up with that with a question about, well, what if the base is a third-party base? And they also said no, you cannot use them at the store, and it caused this firestorm of outrage.
As the internet is wont to do.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm in the John camp where it's like, why did you ask?
Yep.
You don't ask. Anyone who's married should know you don't ask permission. You ask for forgiveness. That's more or less the mantra at least I take with when because it's been a GW policy for years. That's not a surprise.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Hey, those are really cool bases. Where'd you get those? Oh, you know what? I sculpted them out of green stuff. Never mind.
Exactly. So I mean,
Out of Games Workshop read stuff.
Yes. Out of
Yes.
GW official green stuff, I sculpted these.
GW official green stuff that they get from somewhere else. Yeah, so I don't know what and some people want to be careful, they want to make sure beforehand because some people are like that. But
Well, other than having a disagreement with how the question was brought up, what are your thoughts on the answer?
what do you mean how the question was brought up?
Well, you say that the question shouldn't have been brought up at all. They should just go, and then if they get caught,
yeah.
then that's their bad. But what what are your opinions on the actual policy?
Like for myself and probably for John, although I can't speak for him, it's their store, and their job is to sell a GW product.
Yep.
And promote it.
That's just the way it is. If you don't like it, don't play there.
Yeah.
There's plenty of non-GW stores you can play at. There's plenty of non-GW tournaments you can play at.
So are you?
My
is
issue
there
will
any-
be if they try to start enforcing that at the independent tournaments.
I was going to say that's where I
Yes.
was going because of their certification of certain tournaments. Nova being the first one, and it's assumed. I assume that mark of approval will follow onto frontline gaming tournaments in the future. But is there a fear? Do you think it's a? I'm sure there's a lot of fear. Do you think it's a rational fear to expect Game Workshop to have that level of meddling?
I think
I think the ship sailed on that.
Yeah,
I think at this point, people will just be like, "Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and not do that."
I don't know what they can do to exert that type of control.
Right? Like it's not like they're giving out a bunch of prize support. And the biggest events don't need their prize support.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it worked when it was independent retailers and stuff. I don't think it's irrational fear now.
No. Now that they're bringing back their grand tournaments, then that's what you can expect at the grand tournaments.
Yeah,
Sure,
for sure.
that's fine.
Like it's their event. They can run it however they want. I mean, if we
Right.
want it, I mean, we have at the Las Vegas Open, we have requirements for painting and basing, and like there are issues that come up with models that are not what you see is what you get, or conversions
Right.
that are not legitimate. Like I made an entire video about it before last Las Vegas Open. You know, like we enforce certain things because it's the event. That doesn't apply to all events, but because it's our event, or I mean, Frontline Gaming's event, and we run it for them, like we enforce these standards. So they're going to enforce the standards that they want because it's theirs, and they're spending their money, and it's their store and whatever. But if you don't like it, don't play. If you don't want to bring an army that's a 3-color minimum standard and possibly get called out for not having it done, don't come to the event. Or when you get called out, sorry, you're gone. Like that's the way it works.
Yeah, it's I don't think it's an issue that will come up, and if it is, then well, luckily we're not the ones that have to deal with it.
That's true. Not my job. It's above my pay grade, which is 0.
And apparently, the other news is what we talked about earlier before the show started in regards to Tabletop Simulator. For those that don't know what that is, that's a program that lets you literally replicate any game you want on the computer. And you can play someone over the internet, things like that. And they have a version for 40K, and apparently they are unable to support the 40K version anymore. Whether it was a C&D or just something, I don't know exactly. Sure. I didn't want to click on the YouTube link.
Right.
But that's just in terms of that. Some people are upset about it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people who are playing it. I mean, I downloaded Tabletop Simulator specifically to play it. Yeah.
I think Odell was asking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, and that sucks for him because, like, he's deployed. He's not here. And he can't really play 40K where he's at. And he wanted to be able to play 40K, and he found this thing. He was like, "This is so cool. Let's all play this thing." And like, even I downloaded it. I was like, "Cool, I'll play with you, no problem." And now you can't. Yeah.
Yeah. There's another program called Vassal, and but I don't know if they got any notice. I think Tabletop Simulator.
Vassal's done, isn't it? I don't think it's a thing anymore.
No, Vassal's still around.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's still around. Yeah.
How is that still a thing? But like, I don't know. Whatever. Whatever.
Things will die. Take a long time to die.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they got one also. They may.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how is it the Vassal has lasted so long, but this Tabletop Simulator is newer and it now already has a cease and desist? I mean, I'm not a legal authority on anything. I don't know. And also, it depends, I guess, on what GW is aware of. But
yeah, so just the program on Steam or the mod on Steam got removed.
Yeah, no, I know. I couldn't find it the other day when I wanted it.
Well, that's probably. I didn't know it was on Steam. Yeah, if you're fucking advertising Games Workshop's products on Steam, of course you're gonna get a C&D.
Yeah, you can probably still find it somewhere.
The thing is, it's user-created content. It wasn't like...
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're offering it for sale on Steam.
No, it was a free... It was a free...
Whatever. They're offering it. It's in their store. Like, Steam is like...
So you're saying Steam probably removed it?
Yeah, it's probably Steam. I don't know. I don't know any of the facts, but,
yeah.
If based on my limited knowledge of what's going on, I would just assume that Games Workshop was like, "Hey, that's our intellectual property, Steam. Can you please not offer it for free on your thing?" And Steam's like, "Okay."
Yeah, I'm sure that makes sense. Which I'm sure that means you can find
even
the
if they're
patch on Pirate Bay or whatever.
Yeah, it may not have even been like an actual infringement of intellectual property, But if Steam thinks it's gonna get sued by one of the people who make video games, for its platform.
I miss the days of LimeWire, where you could just get whatever you wanted on the internet, and you just risked giving your computer AIDS.
Oh my god! Yes.
The Wild West, man. It was the Wild West of the internet. I can literally find anything I could ever want on this thing. And if I click and download it, there's just the risk that this computer is going to brick. Any game, any movie, any TV show, any song.
Yeah. Yep. Oh my god. Yeah, I missed. Somewhat missed those days.
I know I bricked at least 2 or 3 computers that way. I'm sure that's what it was that did it.
but no proof.
No, no proof.
No. So that yeah, I think you'll still be able to find the file somewhere, but just not on
Yeah,
Steam.
I'm sure.
And it's probably more of like Jeff said, for like professional courtesy as anything else.
Yeah, I mean, this is a content provider for their, it sells video games on their platform.
Yeah. Yeah,
Opposed to
I
that-
know.
As
Right?
opposed to, so we can either keep the free download up, or we can, like
Yeah,
not
seriously.
have to deal with like Inquisitor Martyr getting pulled. You know?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the brand new Battlefleet Gothic 2 that's coming out, or Total War
whatever it is.
Warhammer 2, which has sold a lot, Yeah. That's a good point.
Because sometimes you don't need to be in the right legally. You just need to just
Have
have
leverage.
a big wallet, or be able to make someone else's wallet bigger.
Right. So I think that's it for now. Everyone's sitting, waiting patiently for the FAQ. We'll probably have an episode out right after.
Yeah.
We'll have Danny look at it because we're too lazy.
Well, he's good at
He's
looking
good at
at it
reading.
and assessing all that information right away.
Yeah. And yes, Tony, GW money is much more than free simulator money.
Yeah, just had to have a burner computer for downloads. Yes, that's true. Or a burner hard drive, actually. If you downloaded everything, like it was rare to have a extra hard drive back in those days.
Yeah.
But if you were a supercomputer nerd, not like anybody on this show that I'm talking about, you had an extra drive in your computer and you would literally just download the data to that so that you could just have that hard drive brick if you were lucky. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that from experience. I'm just saying.
Yes. Of course not.
No.
Other news, in case those haven't noticed, there's been changes to the Patreon page. You don't know, Jeff, because you don't help out.
No. I'm helping right now. Fuck you.
That's true. He's being a content creator. He can put it on his LinkedIn.
Ooh.
He can
What's
put
it?
it on his resume.
Oh, jeez.
Another video
Content
editor
creator
out there.
for a random Twitch podcast show about
I'm an influencer,
miniatures.
Yes, it's the Twitch video producer is the new graphic designer
Yes, for this generation of people.
for this generation. I feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
No, I don't. But what changes we made was that there's really only one level, and that's a $5 pleasure level. What that gets you is we have a Facebook group just for us and those Patreon members. So if you help us out with $5 a month, then you get invited to the Facebook group where you can talk to me, John. Are you in it, Jeff? Oh no,
No.
you're not, because you don't
I'm
help
not
us out.
helping.
You don't help.
I'm a content creator. I'm an influencer,
You
not,
just.
not a doer.
I'm gonna say cause problems.
That's fair.
You
It's one
didn't
way
even
of-
create any of the memes that are scrolling by on the screen right now. Go on, man.
Well,
But Tom is in it, Danny, me, and I'll put Jeff in.
don't do it.
Don't want to get sued. And it's open topics. The group's called TFG Radio Off the Rails. So just give $5, and you'll be able to go in there and talk about whatever you want, lists, topics that you want us to cover, things like that.
Sweet Jesus.
Yeah, and if you need, since he's in the chat and we have his icon on the screen most of the time, if you want any cool gaming accessories, go to Hammerhead Games. They make some of the really cool templates that you can use for movement, and they make wound markers and trackers and CP trackers and all kinds of stuff. And he's got all kinds of stuff for all the different game systems. So go to Hammerhead Games and check out, if you play the Star Wars games or whatever, he's got all kinds of stuff on there. So,
Hey, what the
and it's all
fuck? Can I
quality
ask a
products.
question?
Sure.
Sure.
Did he get the fucking thing up and working for his trays?
What thing?
His machine that makes the trays.
I assume so. He was talking about it the other day. Yeah.
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 And
Why
it's
do you want to order
Hammerhead.
one? His
It's
trays are
Hammerhead
the best.
Games.
In my opinion, because they have a little area for like all your stuff, and then they have a little cup holder sized one, which is perfect for whatever cup you have, and it won't fall over because it's the right height.
And the website is hammerheadgames.net.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So please visit that again, hammerheadgames.net, because they'll keep them from trolling GW about the FAQ.
Yes,
No,
seriously.
it won't.
No, it's true.
It probably won't.
Just troll him harder. The more business
He's
you give,
fueled
the
by
more
money.
invincible he feels.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, he did. He said in the chat that yes, it sucked, but it's back. That it sucked to have it down, but it's back now. So yes,
Oh, cool.
cool.
John, you're done for the season, more or less.
Yeah,
Correct.
I don't think SoCal's gonna be something that's doable. And
Come on, bro.
yeah.
Even Danny's
Eh,
might come.
I know, but Danny's like, he's
We're gonna
the
barbecue
opposite
at
of me.
Tri-Tip.
Seriously, at SoCal Open, you're gonna barbecue a tri-tip?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
on the
hotel.
patio of your hotel room?
Yes.
Well, our hotel has a grill in a common area.
Okay, well, I will be a game time decision since it won't sell out. How about that?
Just tell Natalie you're gonna go eat some Tri-Tip.
And
Yes.
disappear for 2 days with my army. Why do you need your army to go to your tri-tip? Shh.
Don't
It's
ask
cost to
questions.
get in. Just ask questions.
Just make sure Edwin gets to a soccer game tomorrow. You're gonna be gone for shh. We'll see. I'll be game time decision. How about that?
I don't think Danny's going. Our
Yeah.
Danny.
Really? I thought he was.
Yeah. No, he said he's
Eh.
not. Because they had to go to Oregon, so
Okay.
that ate up a lot of the financials. I'll be there. I'll probably be with Knight still, even with the nerf. Jeff, you're going? Not going?
Yeah. No, I'm going.
Yeah, you're going.
Tom will be there with Tal. Alan will be there with whatever jank.
I think he's gonna bring his list. That he
I
wrote
think
down.
I think he's staying with the list.
I've convinced him.
No,
to do
no
that.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
He
think
doesn't
so.
stick with the list for more than like a month anymore.
Yep. No. It's been like 2 months now.
The times they are changing, John.
I remember in 5th edition where that guy literally played like his Grey Knight list for forever. And was
everybody
winning
does.
with it because he was playing with it for forever.
So I believe that's it. Anything else? Anything else to announce?
Northern Finland is having an amazing fishing competition soon.
What is it with you in Finland and fishing?
Just
don't
letting
know.
you know.
I don't.
If you guys want to keep an eye
Why
on
do
it.
why do you know that?
Yeah.
Sea fishing.
Why do
I
you
don't know.
know this?
The internet.
Because of the internet.
Were you just avoiding political news so hard today that you found Northern Finland fishing news?
It's an open sea competition out of Northern Finland. You know what are you gonna do?
All right.
For those geographically noted, I don't even know if Finland even has a coast. I'm just making things up.
It does. Yes, it does.
Yeah, but I don't,
The,
have, I, don't
the
think it has
Russians will be sure to tell you that it does.
Yes.
I don't think it has a northern coast, does it?
Yeah.
Huh, okay, there you go.
I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm the social
God.
studies teacher, right? Map of Northern
Oh God.
Europe.
Sorry for everyone who was ready for this show to be.
You don't have to apologize. Yeah, Finland's
Yeah.
got a northern coast. It's probably ice locked most of the time, but it's got one.
That's why it's gonna be
It's
ice
got
fishing.
one.
They have a coast that's like part of the sea, the Baltic Sea. Oh, you know what? It doesn't. It doesn't have a northern coast. Look, if you zoom in, it's not there. Sweden like wraps. No, Norway like wraps around it.
Oh, those Norwegians.
Wow. Freaking
There you go.
Norwegians, man, taking all the
Learn
ice.
something new. Take off the ice. Oh my God.
That's my thought of the day. If you
That's
were
your thought of the day?
We-
Finish
we-
fishing?
We apologize to everybody, by the way.
Finland does not have a northern coast.
Yeah.
Sorry to disappoint.
Yeah.
We'll probably have an episode once the FAQ comes out fairly soon, since Danny's our proofreader.
Mhm.
It'll most likely, most like 99% likely be another Discord chat. I think the last time we did one was a Discord chat also.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it was.
So be on the lookout for that. Again, with the Patreon, check it out. And I believe that is it. Thought for the day is that Finland does not have a northern coast.
Yeah.
Just like the Alamo doesn't have a basement.
All right.
All right.
Pee Wee Herman.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Jeff. Good night, everybody.